Every town should have a Punisher. The people that have intelligence, that have open minds, they will still have an open mind.
Fucking life. Not a black person without a life.
To me, I feel like it's a little bit of a slap in the face to this country.
GHI.
Do you know what that is? That's faggot. And Polish people all look the same.
Hello, GHI peeps. I here just want to do a quick little cast. Not going with the camera today. Gonna throw some animations in this and stuff. I just want to quickly talk about a couple things. This idea of blaming President Trump for the anti-Semitism. This is outrageous. This is outrageous. I mean, first off, his daughter converted to Judaism. His grandchildren are Jewish. He moved the embassy to Jerusalem as he promised. There's a town in Israel named after him. He is not inciting this at all. Why don't we look to some of the BDS supporters who are inciting this? And also, can we take into account? Look, we can't blame black people for this, but these recent series of attacks against Jewish people on the street, the machete attack, several assaults. This has been mostly from non-white people, and it's not being started by Trump. Now, obviously, listen. We're not going to sit here and play the blame game, and we're certainly not going to blame people based on arbitrary things like color. But why are these attacks being carried out by people of color? Because people of color supporting BDS and openly making anti-Semitic remarks, including pushing the Islamification of areas of the country where anti-Semitism is acceptable in society, whether the average person of the Muslim faith is anti-Semite or not, it's overlooked. That's without question. So that is just a blatant lie. And if people really cared about 2% of the United States population being targeted in this manner, let's be truthful about it. Okay, this is crazy. Okay, the blaming Trump part 2. Let's talk about Iran. The tough words by the president were needed. I don't think he wants to get us to war. I don't think it will, but I think he had to make the statement because there's a couple things. And Pompeo spoke about this on Fox, and I know some people don't like Fox. Fox has been very split as a network. So and they are MSM. I think most of the programming is controlled opposition, and I think some of the braver people on the network are constantly at risk of getting fired. But enough of that. I digress. The tough actions had to be made because people need to realize that the people that attacked our compound, our embassy in Baghdad, were militia supplied and paid for through Iran and not the general public of Iraq. Now, I'm not saying that there's any love lost between us and the general population of Iraq, but it is not as anti-American as you would be led to believe. It basically based on the protests of other Iraqis that are protesting against the actions of this militia that you're not seeing on the mainstream media, but yet they're out there. You can find these things. They talk about the ultimate media lying, but we have the footage. It's there. So it's not as black and white as you'd be led to believe, and so Trump has to call them out. And also by playing tough and calling them out, it remember Russia doesn't want to go into World War III either. And if we have to go fight Iran, their vassal state, they will be dragged into a war. It'll be kind of like how World War One started. You know what I mean? So by using the tough words, I think the intention was basically to put a little bit of pressure on the Kremlin to talk down Iran. And this is similar of how the U.S. over the last 3 years and Russia have been working together in certain instances and working in opposition to each other in certain instances. I mean, ISIS was destroyed because of the work that the United States and Russia did in different areas of Syria. Also, the chemical attacks that led to us bombing certain facilities of the Assad regime in Syria have finally been. We knew they were false flags, and we knew they were false for several reasons, but it's been finally proven to be. And you know what? It's not. It's been covered less than a footnote in the mainstream media. So remember that. So again, the at odds between us and Russia is a little bit less than you would think, which is a good thing. All right. Uh, in order for the world to stay peaceful, we have to work with our adversaries. And adversaries do not have to be mortal enemies. In fact, when you are advantageous with other nations, the least constructive thing you can do is create a mortal enemy out of them, because now you've backed both sides into a corner, into their own corners, and you've made the stage extremely small. So that so I can't fault Trump for this. I mean, could it backfire? Of course. But do we really have a choice? We don't, because if you don't, then it only emboldens more. And if you do, you do have the risk of it backfiring, but you don't have a choice. And I think Pompeo, who's following the president's lead on this, admittedly so, but is involved quite heavily, said everything right and answered everything properly to the way the administration has sold our position to the public before taking office. I think they're staying true to that, and that's a good thing. Is this important? Yeah, I mean, especially because of the nation being so divided and nonsensical. This makes all these things much harder. So, hey, look, stop playing the blame game. It's time to get over yourselves and work together before some serious shit happens.
Well, I'm here to tell you, it's fucking
Open Doors USA, smuggling Bibles into North Korea.
You're the first group I've told that to.
Virginia's attempt at furthering gun control is unconstitutional. But if they start trying to enforce this unconstitutional law before it can be, and the big problem is they have to start enforcing it before somebody can take it to higher courts. But basically, what's going to happen is people are going to get killed, and the people defending their right to bear arms are actually legally in the right, but it still would have to be proven in court. So you're going to get a hot war situation out of this. If this maniac who thinks giving birth to children and then deciding if you can kill them is okay, this fucking maniac who runs around in fucking blackface and is still accepted by people that are calling everybody else racist. Look, everybody's got to stand up now. Got to stand up now. And this is, I don't care what side of the aisle you are on. If you don't like the Constitution, there are methods to change it. You cannot change the Bill of Rights with just a simple law, passing of a law. That's not how it works. Because if that law there are two ways to be able to put a law in the books that actually violates, thanks to the ninth, I believe it's the 9th Amendment. It's either 9th or 10th. You can't change existing laws in the Bill of Rights without certain approvals, and there's just two methods of doing it. I'm not going to get into it here because I don't know it off the top of my head. I did research on it a few years back. I'm going to put a link to the article. I believe it's on Minds, and I'll put a link to that article so anybody interested in the methods of being able to change an amendment, one of the Bill of Rights, on the Bill of Rights, you can see that. But thanks for watching, or thanks for listening to the GHI podcast today. It was just a quick couple thoughts I was putting out there. We're going to have G in studio. We're going to have H in studio. We're going to have Byzantine Walt in studio soon. Hopefully we'll have some other characters coming. We have an interview with Rashawn Lamar Jackson. He actually left to go to Israel for the New Year's, so he's actually going to come back and talk to us about his trip. This is I know this was a longer video than most people have been used to lately. I'd like to thank everybody on BitChute. We're gaining a subscriber or two a day at this point. And even though we still, on the Butcher Bear channel, we still do our history documentaries, which are new ones will be coming out this year, and we still do our pit stuff. Most of the channel has been pretty much dedicated to GHI programming, and we thank you, the new subscribers. And we'd also like to remind subscribers that are on BitChute, if you are on YouTube, we do have the GHI podcast channel on YouTube, which is a new channel. It's only got like 17 subscribers because we moved that programming from our 502 channel in order to try to bypass some of the censorship from the new algorithms, so we can get our history stuff and our music stuff to the people that are interested in that out there without having the political stuff hold some of that back. And I hope everybody understands that. So if you are on YouTube, shoot on over and give us a couple likes and subscribe, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Luke didn't know he was in the wrong. Luke should have prayed on it.
Jim Jordon just totally rips this whole Ukraine thing right out the water. Check this out.
Ambassador, you weren't on the call, were you? The president, you didn't listen on President Trump's call and President Zelensky's call?
I did not.
You've never talked with Chief of Staff Mulvaney?
I never did.
You never met the president?
That's correct.
You had 3 meetings again with Zelensky and it didn't come up.
And 2 of those they had never heard about, as far as I know. There was no reason for it.
President Zelensky never made an announcement. This is what I can't believe, and you're their star witness. The first one was July 26th, the day after the famous call now between President Trump and President Zelensky. President Zelensky meets with you, Ambassador Volker, and Ambassador Sondland. And again, according to your deposition and your testimony, there was no linkage of security assistance dollars to investigating Burisma or the Bidens. Second meeting is August 27th. Again, in this 55-day time frame, second meeting is August 27th. President Zelensky meets with you and Ambassador Bolton and others. And again, there's no linkage of dollars, security assistance dollars, to an investigation of the Bidens. Then, of course, the third meeting is September 5th. President Zelensky meets with you and Senators Johnson and Murphy. And once again, there was no linkage of security assistance dollars to an investigation of Burisma or the Bidens. 3 meetings with the president of Ukraine, the new president, and no linkage. That's accurate?
Mr. Jordan, certainly accurate on the first two meetings, because to my knowledge, the Ukrainians were not aware of the hold on assistance until the 29th of August.
So the Politico article.
Machine hole.